In this lesson, we'll finish setting up our spine controls. We have two more controls to make to finish this section of our character. We have our back control, and we also have our center of gravity control. So let's start with that center of gravity control. We'll make a box control curve and align it again to the root of our chain. From there, going to our side view, we can work on repositioning this. So we can bring down our top points, bring down the bottom, and or bring up the bottom rather, and just really work on conforming this to the character's hip. Okay, so I think that's going to be just fine. From there, we can look at this in our perspective view. Okay, and this also looks fine as well. If we like, we can work on just scaling this out a little bit more in the X, so it wraps around the hip better. Okay, and with this created, we can now freeze this to clean it up, and we'll give this a name. We'll call this CC_COG for center of gravity 01. So now that that's done, how are we going to have this act as a center of gravity control? Well, we can go to our outliner and go to our control objects group. We'll first tie this control to the group just by parenting it, and then we'll want to take our chest and hip object and parent it to the center of gravity control. It's as simple as that. So now what we get is control over the character's entire upper body. Okay, great. Excellent. Okay, well, now that that has been done, we can go ahead and recolor this. So let's give this a color of, let's say, bright red. And we're ready now to work on our back control. So for the back control, we can use a circle, and we'll scale this up. We'll align it to the bone C object, so we'll just snap it there. And now we can work on reshaping this. So if you like, you can go ahead and hide the character and make sure that you don't have your local rotation axis viewing. And then we could just take the point here at the front and bring this back. Again, just trying to make this look a little bit more interesting while not spending too much time on it at all. Okay, we could select these two side points and bring these in. And then from there, let's go ahead and select them all. We can bring back our character now, reposition this outside of the character's body so it's easier to select. Maybe even rotate these down and then scale them out a little bit more so it's easier to select. Okay, so here we have our back control. Alrighty, and now with this, can clean it up. In history, freeze its transforms, call this our CC back 01. Okay, and now that it has been labeled, we can, of course, get rid of the scale all the way to visibility, remove those, and give this a color. And we could give it a color of yellow. So you kind of see the pattern here. We're going red, yellow, red, yellow. All right, just to make things, again, a little bit more interesting, and also helps for selectability purposes too. Now, how are we going to have this back offset work? Well, that's going to be as simple as taking our chest control and parenting it to this object. But before we even do that, let's make sure that the back control is going to be tied to our center of gravity. So we'll add it there. And then we'll want the chest control to be tied to the back. So we'll select the chest and middle click it and drag it right on top of the back. And what we get now is a nice back offset. So you can see the difference working from the chest. We're getting the rotation from the chest. but as we move the back, we're getting rotation right at the back. Great. And we can also translate this around if we like. Great. So that's the setup of our center of gravity control as well as our back control too. And that really finishes this this section of our character. So what's left to do is to basically work on controls for the character's head and neck, and then from there we can start bringing our attention to the character's arms and then the shoulder plate and then the tubes at the back to really finish it off. So we just have a few more tasks really before we have completed the rig of this game character. So that finishes this lesson. In the next lesson, we bring our attention to the neck and head.